So today's video is an iPhone 4 tips and tricks video. Some of these tips you may already know, some you may not, and hopefully some of them you will use at some point in the future. So the first tip is how to scroll to the top of the page fast. Now this can be used in the iPod, Safari, in an email, in Notes, pretty much any app where you would scroll to the bottom of a document or a web page, anything like that, and you need to get back to the top. So to give you a demonstration, if I go into Safari here, and at the moment I'm on a Macworld news feed, so if I scroll all the way to the bottom of the news feed, now if I want to get to the top of the news feed, normally I would scroll all the way back up again, but to save doing that, what you can do is tap on this bar here. Now this bar shows the time, the battery life and the network. If you just tap that, it scrolls to the top of the news feed, so I don't have to scroll all the way up the page manually, and this will work in other apps as well. If I go into the iPod, for example, and if I go into songs, if I go to the bottom of my songs, it's right, so I'm right at the bottom of the songs list. If I want to get to the top, I can either scroll up the side here or just simply tap this bar here at the top, and within less than a second it takes you straight back to the top. So that's just a simple way of scrolling back up to the top of a document. Something that comes in handy and something that I use, I'd probably say I use it on a daily basis. So the next tip is how to lock the screen orientation. Now to do this, if you press the home button twice to activate multitasking, and if you swipe to the right, you get the ability to access the iPod, some iPod controls, and this button here, which is the orientation lock. So if I tap that, it says portrait orientation locked, and you also get the lock symbol up in the top there. Now that means that if I rotate the phone into landscape, it won't flip the image. So if I go into Safari, for example, and go to the Apple site, wait for that to load. Now normally if I turn the phone landscape, that would flip, the image would rotate and I'd be able to see it perfectly, but because the portrait orientation lock is on, this won't actually rotate at all, it will stay in portrait. If I switch the portrait orientation off by pressing that button again, and I rotate the phone, then the image flips. So that's just how to lock it into portrait mode. Something that you may or may not need. I think I very rarely use it. It's probably something that I would use more on the iPad than the iPhone. Tip number 3 is to do with Google Maps. So let me go into Google Maps here, and if I find my current location, and what you can do is drop a pin on the map. If you hold your finger on the map, it will drop a pin, and what you can do is use that to find your location, or if you want to mark your location because you're somewhere you want to get back to, you can do that. But you can also enter Street View using this. So if I press this little icon here, what that will do is activate Street View right on the iPhone, and if I rotate round, then obviously you can see everything that you would normally see in Street View on the Google Maps website. And obviously you can move around and do everything that you would normally do on Street View in Google Maps. So that's just, and then to return back to the map, touch this button here and it goes back to the map. So that's just how to enter Street View, or how to drop a pin for any other reason that you may need to. Another one here, if I zoom in on my location, if I tap this button here, which is the button that you use to find your location. If I tap it twice, what it will do is it will orient the map to show which way I'm facing. I'm assuming it will automatically point me to north, but as I rotate round, or as I change position on the map, what it will do is it will rotate the map around me to show which way I'm pointing. So I'm assuming it would always point towards the north. So that's just something, if you tap it again, it just rotates the map back round to the way that it should be. Tip number 4 is web clips. So if I go into Safari again, here I am on the Apple UK homepage. If I want to maybe keep a link to this on my on the home screen of my iPhone, you can do this with any web page on. It doesn't have to be the home page; it can be any page of any website. Just hit the plus button here, click Add to Home Screen, and you can name that whatever you want. So if I name that as Apple and hit Add, it then puts an icon on my home screen to the Apple site. As soon as I touch that, it goes straight back to the Apple site. So if there's a website that you regularly check up on and you don't particularly want to have to keep going into Safari and going through your bookmarks to find it, you can just simply add the link to the home page to it, and then you tap it and it'll go straight to the website. So that's something really simple and easy to use to get quick access to websites. Tip number 5 is to do with the keyboard on the iPhone. So if I go into a note here that I typed earlier, if I just tap to bring up the keyboard, a quick tip here: normally once you've finished to punctuate it correctly, you would put a full stop and a space before you start the next word, or a double space, however you want to do it. But the quick and easy way to do this, if you press the space twice here, it will automatically put a full stop and a space for you, so you don't have to do the two manually. It's just something that's quick and easy to do. Something else I wanted to show: if you touch and hold the 1, 2, 3 here, you can quickly access the numbers and symbols and then go back to the QWERTY keyboard without having to take your finger off it, in effect. So normally you'd go in here, you'd put your number in, hit the space, and it would take you back to the QWERTY keyboard. But this is something, if I hold down here on the 1, 2, 3, don't take my finger off, move to say 6 for example, move my finger off, then it changes back. It's something that took me a while to get to work, so I wasn't quite sure how it was supposed to work. I assumed you tapped and held on here and something popped up, but obviously I was wrong. But if you just tap and hold on it, move to where you want, what symbol or number you want to put in, take your finger off it, it will insert the symbol, and then go back to the QWERTY keyboard. To be honest, I don't think it makes much difference whether you press the 1, 2, 3 and then put your symbol in and then hit space and it goes. It just depends which way you prefer to do it. But that's just a little tip there for those that may or may not want to use it. Now something else, varying languages have different symbols added onto some of the letters. Now to access this on the iPhone, for example, if I hold down on the O, it brings up all the different variations of the O letter from different languages. So all you do is move the finger over whichever one you want to use. So let's say this one, and it then inserts into the document. So you can do that with any other. So let's try it with a U. Hold down on the U, and again it brings up the different variations. Just move your finger, release, and it inserts it. So that's just a few handy features on the keyboard there. Tip number 6 is how to take a picture of the screen of the iPhone 4. This is something that also works on the iPod Touch as well, and it may come in handy particularly if you're playing games and you want to send a picture of the screen to somebody, or it could be in any other app or any other part of the iPhone. To do this, you hold down the sleep wake button on the top, not for too long, otherwise it will turn the phone off. Hold it down and press the home button. So if I do that now for you, it flashes and you hear the camera shutter. And if I go into my photos and the camera roll, you'll see that it's added picture of my screen into the camera roll. So what you can do with that photo then is you can email it, you can send it in a text, post it on MobileMe, assign it to a contact, or use it as wallpaper. So it's basically, or when you sync your iPhone back to the Mac, you can obviously sync that picture back to your Mac or PC, and do with it what you will. So that's just how to take pictures of the screen. As I said, don't hold the sleep wake button at the top for too long, otherwise you'll get the this screen which says slide to power off the phone. So just hold it for about a second and then press the home button, and that will take a picture of the screen. Tip number 7 is swipe to delete. So if I go into mail, and if I go into this inbox, now I've got an email here that I no longer need. Now this will work in text message threads, it will work in mail, and maybe a few other apps on the phone. But all you have to do, instead of having to go to edit and mark it and hit delete at the bottom of the screen here, what you can do is just simply swipe to the right, and it will ask you to, if you want to delete it. So if I hit delete, that's the email deleted. And you just swipe and delete, that's all you have to do, and that will work, as I said, with text message threads and with emails mainly, but as I say, it does work with other apps. Tip number 8 is cut, copy and paste. To do this, if I want to copy a word, for example, if I double tap the word jumped here, it will highlight it, ask me if I want to copy it. So if I hit copy and I move down here, if I just go down a couple of lines, if I hold on here, it will then ask me if I want to select all, or paste. Obviously, because there's nothing there to select, I'll hit paste in this instance, and it pastes the word jumped. If I want to cut or copy, I can do the same thing, just hold down and release. If I do select all, so it selects all the text. You can actually drag these handles here, so I can so if I want to get the whole of that sentence in, I can just drag that around, and then I've got cut, copy and paste, so I can cut that and paste it there if I want to. Just hold my finger down and release and paste. And if I want to undo that, all you have to do is shake the phone, and you get the message undo paste. If I hit undo paste, it undoes it. If I shake the phone again, it comes up undo cut, so I can undo the previous step before that, or I can redo what I've just undone, if that makes sense. So that's just a quick guide to cut, copy and paste on the phone, and how you can undo just simply by or redo things simply by shaking the phone. And tip number 9 is how to save an image from a web page. So if I go back into Apple's website, and if I zoom in on this picture of the iPod Nano, for example, if I wanted to save that, maybe if I wanted to email it to somebody, or maybe sync it back to my Mac to use in something, all I have to do is touch and hold on that. Up comes this menu saying what do I want to do. Open the image, open it in a new page, save the image, or copy it. So if I click save image, it should save it in the camera roll. So if I go into photos, go to the camera roll, you'll see that that's the image right there. So if I touch that, and that's the image that I've just saved from the web. And then obviously from here you can bring up the menu to email it to somebody, send it in MMS, send it to MobileMe, assign to a contact, use as wallpaper, or as I mentioned before, you can simply sync it back to your Mac or PC to do with whatever you will. So that's just a quick video on some hints and tips to do with the iPhone. Some you may know, some you may not, and hopefully I've provided you with a few tips there that you didn't previously know existed. If anyone's got any comments, questions or suggestions to do with this video or any others, then please email those in. The email address is up at the end of the video. I've got a couple more iPhone 4 videos coming out shortly, so keep an eye out for those, and if you want to subscribe then please do. Okay, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.